Okay, this is Amanda with the Activated Earth, and this is the special live interview with Martina Mazdrova in Summit 2023, all about nature connection, and I'm going to read her bio to you. Martina is passionate about bridging principles of leadership and transformation with hiking. Embarking on journeys such as the Camino de Santiago pilgrimage has brought her home, and walking has become her medicine. Her mission is to inspire and empower others, especially women, to go on journeys where Mother Nature, their body, and their heart guide them back home to themselves, and they get to live in alignment with who they truly are, which has been my experience of you ever since I've known you. So if there are questions, I can see on my telephone, everybody out there, I can see your questions here. I'll be checking. We do have a person watching. So Martina, we had a little teaser yesterday about you and how you were inspired to go and do this. How many kilometers was it that you did?
The last one was 1,000 kilometers. Maybe about 500, 600 miles, something like that. I'm not quite connected to miles, but
like 2.5 kilometers in a mile, approximately.
1.6.
What's that?
If you do the math, 1.6 kilometers.
1.6. Oh, okay. Well, I was way off.
I know that.
You're more connected to it than I am. So I know you got inspired to do that, and I can remember all of your time leading up to it. What was it that actually got you to take the leap and actually go on the walk?
Yeah, well, first of all, I want to just say hello before we dive into it. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining in, and I would totally love to be this interactive. So if you are watching us live, please shoot your questions and we can be in conversation together. And thank you, Amanda, for having me and having me part of this creation.
Thank you for this great idea.
Yeah. So what got me into it? Like, many things. This is the third one I actually walked. It was the first one which was that long, like 1,000 kilometers. I was 2 months away, but walking for 55 days. And it was my first time ever really this long distance walking. I walked it before twice, but that was the first one for 2 weeks, the second one for 3 weeks. It was transformational already. And when I was planning the first one back in 2018, and I was looking at the different routes, because there are different routes that leads to Santiago. There are so many of them. And as I was planning the first one, I saw this one, which goes along the northern coast of Spain. And I look at it like, I'm going to do this one day as a whole. Because you can split it up, you can really do what you want. You can go for 2 weeks, you can do it 800 kilometers all at once, or you can do 200. It's purely up to you. But I knew that this walk, the specific one, which is called Camino del Norte, Camino of the North, like Camino is a walk, a path. Mm-hmm. It was supposed to be done all together. And it was in my head for this one day thing, the one day dream. Have you got the one day dreams? Our listeners, our audience, what are your one day dreams really? You know, it was this one. And back in April last year, there was an accumulation of life for me where I have been building my coaching business. I've been in it for just a little under 2 years and navigating this entrepreneurial journey, which is a roller coaster, transformational, and yeah, it's quite a journey. And I got to the point where I learned, and I was really honest, like really radically, lovingly honest with myself, where I got to accept and see that the way I am going about building my dream is not good for me. And it's actually destroying me, because I got so focused on building my business that I disconnected from the rest of my life. from my relationships, from everything. And I was just focusing on, I'm building this dream. And one mentor once said in one of the master classes I attended that life, universe will not allow you to succeed in a way that is not good for you. And that was the moment when this really hit, because I'm like, the way I am going about this is not good for me. And I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to do it. I've been trying different ways to do different routines and different regimes and different programs and different coaching. And, to create this well-balanced life, but it was not coming together. And it was in April, at the beginning of April, it was late in the evening. I finished working and I just felt this exhaustion really in my body and this heaviness in my shoulders. And I was just sitting by my table, just a little bit down this way in this room where I am right now. And I'm like, I can't do this. This is really important to me. I know I get to create something incredible and contribute to the world with my gifts, which I still have been learning how to articulate. And it's like, but I don't know how to do it. And this is not working and I can't do this anymore. And I just sat in silence and I felt like, okay, what do I do? Just ask, as if I ask life or universe. I'm building that relationship. So it's a little bit, I was like talking to the space, like, I don't know what to do. And then I just felt this intuition talking to me, just go and walk. Like 3 times in a row, just go and walk, just go and walk. And I look up and there is a wall in front of me where I have my vision board. And there is the sign of the Camino de Santiago. It's this column with a shell and an arrow that you see on the way. And that kind of that's one of the ways that your path is shown to you. And I saw it there. And I knew when I would draw it, I knew I was thinking of this North Pass, of this Camino del Norte that I was dreaming about. This is the path. This has been the intention of this picture. And I got suddenly in my head, I'm like, no, I can't do this. I don't have the time. And I'm building this business. And I'm also teaching English. And I can't do this. And then I'm like, wait a second. It's not like you have this amount of clients and your business will suddenly go bankrupt if you go because, it's not working what you're doing. And suddenly I got into these possibilities. I'm like, what if it would be possible? What if I could do it? What if I could? And suddenly all these ideas came to me and I'm like, this is it. What else? When else? Like, I should do it. And I just fully trusted that voice within me. And I'm like, I get to walk. And it was the moment I booked my one-way ticket to England and then to France.
Yeah.
And that's how it all started.
That's how it all happened. And 55 days of really connecting with yourself and being part of the land as you're walking through there. And I know you had, there was one experience that I know that I remember you having where it didn't quite work out the way you wanted to. You wanted to, I think it was, you wanted to walk and arrive on foot and cross the border. I don't remember what border it was, and then you didn't get to do that. And then you thought, I don't remember what you did now. You thought you might go back and do it again. But I just remember you got a good lesson from that. And I was wondering if you could share. And I also want to let you know that there are people watching, and Jody says good morning. And to those of you who are watching, please feel free to put in a question. I'll keep an eye on it here. And if you want to ask a question, but let's go back to that day when that happened. That seemed like that was like one of your first.
That was right at the beginning. There was day one. Day one. Yeah, it all. Oh my gosh! Thank you for that. That was so funny. So I was really learning about. I had a vision, right? And there is something, and I'm still actually learning about the differentiation between having a vision and having an expectation of how it should be, how it should look. And I think I'm much better into kind of feeling through it. But at that time, I was very attached to the way and how it should be. I knew there was this, it was a big deal for me. I'm like, oh my God, I'm doing this. I am on day one. I'm walking the pilgrimage. I'm walking. There is this vision of 1,000 kilometers. And the rules, let's say, that every single person makes up their own rules. So the rule I made up is I need to walk. I cannot take a bus or transport unless it's an emergency, unless it's something, that is absolutely essential for me to take some sort of transport. Like you walk or you cycle, or you can go on horse or donkey. That's kind of the way you go on the pilgrimages. Usually people walk, there are lots of cyclists. So I was walking and I was committed. I am walking every single path. I'm not taking a bus, I'm not taking a train, unless I need to go to the hospital or something. So I was on day one. I was staying in France, just at the border, on the French part, and I needed to walk about 30 kilometers to the first city called Irun, where the trail, the Camino del Norte, officially starts. And I was so excited. I was staying for 3 days with this Airbnb family, that I had 3 days just to settle by the beach and set my intention and really feel through it and kind of land in the land before I started to walk. And my host family said, Martina, you can walk, and it's along the coast, and it's so gorgeous and it's beautiful, and it's really long. It's going to be very demanding, but you can walk, actually, because I thought of taking a train to the city of Irun and start from there. But I realized, actually, I can start here in this city called Biarritz. So I started to walk, and I didn't walk along the coast. I apparently took a wrong turn or something. I was still following the arrows. I was still following the path. And obviously I turned somewhere. So I was walking on the road, on the main road with the cars all the time. I mean, I was in the forest. It was lovely, but it wasn't what I expected. So there was lots of energy already this first day. Like, there is the ocean, because one of the things, I love the ocean. And I wanted to see the ocean. I'm like, I'm like the ocean. It's going to be incredible. And I was so attached to the way. And there was such a high expectation of it needing to be perfect in a certain way. And it's this big thing I'm doing for myself. And how often, right, things work out when we are attached to this is the way and this needs to happen. And we create this expectation of it, right? But basically what happened is, like, I worked through it. I'm like, okay, I'm not going by the ocean. It's fine. And it was really special for me because I was in France and I was walking into Spain. And somehow there was just something about it for me when the idea I'm crossing the border, I'm walking into a different country. There was something so, I don't know, special about it that I just wanted to experience. And I was staying in this Airbnb for the first night, and there was this complete miscommunication with the landlord, with the lady who was renting the place I was in. And she told me, like, you have to come because I have to go to work and I have to give you the keys. And I'm like, and suddenly someone started to control me, right, again, and telling me how I should walk. And suddenly she's telling me, like, Martina, you have to take a bus. Like, you have to take a bus because you need to get here to get the keys. And I'm like, I cannot take a bus. Like, excuse me, I am the pilgrim here. I'm walking this pilgrimage. You live on the pilgrimage. Are you not honoring the journey? And I couldn't, like, understand. And she's like, it's really cool, but you have to come. But basically what happened is she did pick me up, because I didn't have the time to walk there to catch her on time. So she picked me up on car. I was feeling all sorts of emotions that the first day of my Camino, and I'm already in the car. She crossed the border with me. She showed me the place, and I was having all sorts of emotions. And then I realized, very powerful moment. And I'm like, okay, this is what it is. And truly the whole journey has been teaching me about surrendering to what is. Stop fighting what is. Stop wanting to have something different in a different way, but see it for what it is and choose powerfully from that place. And I kind of stopped. I sent you some messages, right, about how upset I was that I didn't cross the border on my foot and I was taken by car. But once I processed my emotions, that's when I could connect truly to my intellect and start, okay, what are the possibilities here? What is it that I can create here? And that was the moment I realized I am literally, the flat is literally next to the border. I can come back and I can walk it and I can still do it. It
Yep.
just looks different. And this has been truly, Amanda, the story of my life. And I would love to know, the listeners who are listening, does this sound familiar? You wanting, desiring something, and there was this idea, whether you know it or not, but there was this disappointment that things didn't happen the way you wanted to happen, or the day didn't go the way it happened, or the job or the business, whatever it is. And I'm like, okay, it's what it is. And now what? What can I create when I step into my power and when I step into possibility? So I chose, well, I'm going to come back and I'm just going to cross. It just looks different. But what is the difference actually, right? It just looks different than I thought, but I'm still crossing the border.
Right.
And what happened was actually incredible. There are two important things that happened that led to the next thing, that I crossed the border. And as I crossed the border, I was suddenly on the French part again. I found this amazing French bakery and I had the most amazing croissant, but that was just amazing. But what happened, that there was this celebration. I think I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. It's true. We say in Czech that it's a true. I think I'm going to sneeze one more time. I'm normally sneezing 3 times.
Excuse me, I feel like it's all your passion coming out.
Oh my God, so much, because it was so powerful. Because as I crossed the border, I see this music and there was the stage being built, and I totally love live music and our cultural experiences and really connect with the people in the land. And I'm like, okay, what is this about? And there was this fair. I don't know what it was, but it was incredible. They had these incredible costumes. I don't know necessarily what it meant, but they were dancing. There was music playing and there was this food. And I'm like, had I done it the way it happened the first time, I have totally missed this experience.
Yeah. It's totally
that
like
was
the universe threw you a party for empowering yourself.
Yeah.
The way that you handled it, letting it be what it was and enjoying it for what it was. So you had a surprise party waiting.
Surprise party. And I felt like, oh, they celebrate
Yeah.
me. I'm in France. Like, let's make it a little bit about me, like in my journey.
Sure.
And the second thing is that I saw the sign of the town called Hendaye, or Endaye, which was actually part of the route, but I would have missed it. And I didn't look up the details of the route, but I heard people talking about it. And because I saw it kind of connected, I'm like, this is what I keep seeing in these different Facebook groups about the Camino. I think I get to go there. So actually the following day I changed the plan and I came back to France and I walked through this town called Endaye into the original spot. And it was actually one of the most beautiful days. I swam in the ocean and I had this amazing conversation with this local lady who told me about this mountain. It was like, this is where you're going to be going tomorrow. It's incredible, but don't worry. It's so easy. I walk it 4 times a day. Sometimes or 4 times a week. And on the day as I was walking and I found myself like, this is weird that I am coming up. And I realized, isn't this the mountain I'm supposed to be walking the following day? And I realized I'm on the wrong route. Thanks to the lady who told me that this is the mountain I will be climbing the following day. So like everything started to connect. There was a little conversation here, little sign here, and it created some of the most beautiful experiences.
Nice. I have a question.
Tell me.
You call yourself the walking life coach, and we titled this talk Walking Home with Martina. And I would like to know, what was that like for you? You found home through that walk that you did. So what does that mean, finding the home in yourself through the walking in nature?
Thank you for that. Yes. It's been a journey, and I feel this pilgrimage has been the last piece of puzzle. And actually, all 3 has played a huge part of me kind of coming home. every single Camino I walked, all three, has been like a little piece of puzzle of me that I was collecting, and it came together on the last one, which was happening actually this time last year. This time as we speak, I'm about maybe 5 kilometers in. I saw stories on Facebook today, and I'm like 350 kilometers from Santiago today last year. So what it means to me walking home, arriving home, it's truly me walking to myself, to this deep knowing to an extent I can, because there is so much more I get to learn and discover about myself. But I feel it is this, I've got me. I've got me no matter what, and I can fully and completely trust myself. It's being very connected to my intuition, to my inner voice. And for me, what has been incredible that has happened through the walk, it's truly a walk of leadership. It's a walk of embodiment. It's a walk of integration. Like anything I learned from personal development and coaching has integrated. I lived it through every single cell of my body on the walk. And what has been the big piece of me kind of, I feel, arriving home is I know how my body feels when I'm home, when I'm in my truth, when my intuition, when my inner voice speaks to me. And that has been kind of the missing link. So now, as I am 1 year later, and I am still integrating the lesson, the wisdom, the memories on a whole different levels, there has been some big decisions I got to make this year, some big choices that has completely created big turmoil in my life, truly believing for the highest good for me. But I practiced on the walk how my intuition, how my inner voice feels in my body. So I can trust it now, which before I didn't. I was conditional about, yeah, I can feel my guts, I can feel my intuition, but my head would have been stronger. But
Yeah.
I know I have so many experiences and, let's say, data, evidence, when I fully and completely surrendered and trust myself and my intuition and my body where it led me, I always had the most profound, incredible, magical experiences.
Can you describe that feeling? What,
For me,
so that
it's
people
thank you.
know what you mean? It might be different for other
Yeah,
people, but how does it feel?
totally. It's totally. Yeah. For me, it's in my gut, like in here. It's a sensation. It's this. It's literally. I get it as a knowing. I get it as a thought. There was suddenly a knowing. There was this split seconds of clarity of, this is what you need to do. This is where you need to sleep. This is the decision you need to make, and it disappears. It's like a momentary bam, like a mic drop moment. But it's deeply, it's just clear. There was no fluff around it. It's just stop here. Stop seeing this guy. Boom, like one very clear. And the feeling I have, it's peace. It's really when I connect to this guidance I receive, there is peace in me.
That's has been a really common thread that I've heard from other people that I got to have a conversation with. And it's true for me too. You know, all of my thoughts disappear, and because they're not necessarily real, and the peace really settles in. I love it that you brought that up. I think that's really important to I think that would be actually something everybody would experience when they feel a truth come in, is peace. But there were other things. I remember there were other things that you learned from, some days were challenging, some days were easy and some days weren't. And you had various breakdowns and breakthroughs. Could you share one of those with us?
Oh my gosh, there are so many. Like, can I share more?
You can share as
I'm
much as
not
we
sure
have
how much
time
time we
for.
have, but I feel I can't pick just one. Okay, with trust has been my life journey to really completely trusting, and I'm still evolving, and now really knowing, having this connection with myself, it's getting easier and easier, especially in the moments where it's guiding me somewhere where I thought it's gonna be different, the same story as day one. But now having really so much evidence of how much magic and incredible experiences happen when I really surrendered to the guidance, if I put it this way, that makes it easier in my real life to surrender to the guidance, but with trust. What has been really profound for me, this is for someone who is also learning to, well, not learning, let's say deepening trust with themselves. Let's put it this way. Deepening trust with themselves, for someone who tends to overthink, for someone who tends to have this, I need to know the 3, 5 steps, 10 steps ahead of me in order for me to take action, because it kind of feels safer knowing I know I'm going to do this. And then there is the sequence of things that happen. But often we don't have them, and often we cannot predict them, and often we don't have them until we really make the move. This whole saying, right? Take the leap or jump off the cliff, trusting the net will appear. So what has been so profound was, in the middle of nowhere, I am in the forest. I don't know where I am, just somewhere in between villages. I'm in this gorgeous forest. And the way we are shown the path, it's a yellow arrow. I have a necklace. I don't know if you can see it here, but it's an
You
arrow.
wear it all the time.
Yeah. I have it since 2019 on my neck. So when I get married, this is gonna be the jewelry on my wedding. It's not going down ever, basically. Anyways, so you follow arrows like that, or shell. I have actually here these kind of shells.
Yeah.
Scallop shells. That's my little memory.
Nice.
This is the way how we are shown the path. So basically you follow the yellow arrows. And I found myself in the forest, in the middle of nowhere. If you give me maps, I have no idea how to read maps or orient myself in the space. I don't know. And I realized that there is this one arrow in the middle of nowhere, and I fully, completely trust it. I see it and I go. I don't question it. And that was this moment for me, it's life. That is life. I don't need, because for me, the arrow, the shell, but really the arrow now represents the guidance that we receive every single day in relationship. When there is a breakdown, we get to up level. We know what to do. There is a guidance given to us, but sometimes it's so uncomfortable. We don't move. We don't take the action because we don't know, right, which direction it's going to go. Or in business, anywhere in life, we are eventually, when we quiet ourselves and we connect with ourselves, we are always given the guidance. And I didn't used to take the actions because I didn't know the 3 steps ahead. But now here I am in the forest, in the middle of nowhere, in the country. I don't speak the language necessarily, and I'm just trusting the one arrow at the time. I need just the one. And that was so profound for me, because I realized this is no different from life. And thank you for this, because this is a reminder to myself right now as we speak. I don't need more steps ahead of me, because I need the one arrow, the one guidance with the thing I'm working on. I take the move, and I know that the next arrow will appear, because it always does. And it takes courage to trust myself that I've got me in between the arrows, in between the next arrow. And that has been profound for me.
You know how that's speaking to me is that there's nothing but the present. And to need steps ahead means predicting the future, or feeling like you're in the future, or being anxious about the future. And since there's only the present, you only need that one.
Like the one
That also brings peace.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And and with that is the connection with the body. What's coming is this one, that it's the present. It's really being present. What is going now? What is right now? because there was this other moment, because the big lesson I went there to learn, I didn't know that, but it showed up very quickly, because our body has got our back. Our body is speaking, talking to us all the time through tensions. What are the emotions stored in our body? What is it I'm not feeling? What is this pain about? Like, it always guides us. Our body is our GPS, truly. And that's what I've really learned on the way, because since day one, pretty much, I had blisters. On the previous 2 Caminos, I've never had blisters. Yes, different shoes, different conditions, you can name it, but I knew the body was supporting me to really learn to slow down, because there is this performance in me. There is this need to prove myself, the need to perform and have these good results, because there was this little girl one day who learned that when she performs, when she pushes, she's loved. And I got to love that little girl and allow her to find safety in going slow. And the blisters were there to serve me, because I couldn't walk more, because it hurt as hell sometimes. And there was this one specific moment where there was quite at the beginning, about 2 weeks, 2 maybe 3 weeks in, when 2 weeks, when I was walking and I came to this village. It was by the ocean side, and I was so tired. My feet were hurting, and I knew that I had about 6 kilometers to go to the village where I planned, where it felt satisfying, the amount of kilometers, because it felt enough. Here you are good enough if you walk these 20 or 25, so whatever ideas I attached to it. And as I walk into this village, right at the beginning, there were 2 signs. If to go to the left is you go to the albergue, which is the pilgrims hostel, and you can stay in the village, or you can continue on the path. And I knew, okay, I'm gonna go and I'll have 6 more kilometers. And I could hear the conversation. I was done, Amanda. I was so done that day. And there was this mean girl, right? This performer, like, come on, you get it. Like, you have 6 more. You can do this. Come on, like, you get to try harder. So I followed, and I'm following the arrow, and I'm walking through the village, and I find myself in front of the albergue, 3 o'clock. And they are just opening the doors, and I'm really confused. And I meet there a pilgrim who I met that day. I was walking with him for a little bit, and he told me he's staying in this place. So I say, hello, nice to see you again. And he said to me, like, oh, you're staying here with us. And I'm like, no, I'm doing it. I can do this. I've got 6 more kilometers to go. And he was looking at me like, well, yeah, but you took the wrong turn. And I'm like, no, that was the arrow being very smart, I know better, kind of, feeling. And I'm like, no, you took the wrong turn. You should have continued. Now you have to come back. And that was a profound moment for me too. I just stood there, and I'm here in this moment, in the exact moment when the albergue, the hostel, is opening up the door for the pilgrims. I'm standing there exhausted, in complete pain. There was this voice in me fighting, push more, this is not enough. You need to do more. And then there was this, body, I hear you. You took me here. My body, my legs took me here because it was enough. And I gave myself permission, kind of gets me emotional, like, and I gave myself permission to slow down and to stop performing. And that day, Amanda, I had one of the biggest release, one of the biggest healing by the ocean. And I cried as the literally ocean washed over me, and all the tears for the little girl who was trying so hard to prove herself, and who was trying so hard to find the enoughness in the performance. And I know this is the topic of the collective, like this push and harder and enough and enough and enough. And that moment I committed to myself, and I declared that I am fully and completely trusting my body to lead the way, and I will walk as she needs, because she knows better. Not my ego, not my mind, but my heart and my body leads me through that, the most incredible situations and moments happened. Every single time I let go and I trusted and I surrendered to my body, the most incredible thing happened.
You just used a word and a concept a minute ago, that like the not enough, or the needing to push beyond really into a lot of pain in order to show that you are enough, that this is a collective.
Yeah.
This is a collective story. And I know we talked back then about how it seemed that your energy was healing the collective by doing this walk. Would you just talk about that a little bit, and how that works? I'd love to hear your interpretation of that.
This is really interesting. Thank you for that. Yes, this has been really profound for me, because to acknowledge, I believe, and I know you do as well, but I speak for myself, I believe in the unity of the allness, oneness. And I am you, and I am your mirror of the light and the opportunities, and so you are, and it's beautiful and it's incredible. And I knew as I was sharing the journey on my social media, I knew as I was experiencing, I was sharing authentically. If anyone is interested, I am posting what I was experiencing last year. Now I am reposting the shares. It's like it's been my diary, so you can go on my Facebook or Instagram and read through it. It's there if this is something interesting for you. But what I want to say is, I was sharing very raw and vulnerably what I was feeling, what I was working through. I could see how every single person who connected with the story, they were me.
I felt the same way.
That's what you said. I know that. Anytime, like, there was this energy of like, it's a different scenario, but it's the same experience. It's the feelings. It's a different situation, yet it's the same. And this is something that I feel there was a journey for me to go in fully accepting that. But I feel it takes so much courage to acknowledge the bigness of who we are, and the bigness and really the legacy of the work we doing when we embark on transformation. And I could see as I feel through, as I'm working through my emotions, I see the environment around me shifting with me. It's mind-boggling. But it really took me to realize really how much I matter, how much this work matter. And I really felt through, like, you sharing, like, the stories is helping you, the stories help someone else. It's really the work, like, for me, for you, for us, is one of the mantras I follow says, which I totally love. Because there has been so many moments, like when I had bed bugs, that was one of the biggest, like, shame experiences I have ever. I was sitting there like 3 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, totally bitten by my bed bugs, my friends, really, on my legs, on my arms, on my face, on my neck. I've never ever had experience with bed bugs before, ever. And I was like bitten, and I was so uncomfortable in my own skin. It was like the feeling I just want to take my skin off me. That was this kind of feeling. It was so uncomfortable. But emotionally, what has been happening for me, I was releasing so much shame, because it was incredible space. I was in a different place, and it was incredible space where I was in, and they were so kind. It was so special. It was like a retreat. It was magical. It was truly a magical place. And that day when I arrived, I was talking with my friend, and I told him, oh my God, this place is so magical. I wish I could be here for a little longer. We are creating in different ways. Because that night I found out I'm bitten. and I had allergic reaction to it. So I stayed for the extra 2 days to actually heal from the bites and get myself together so I
You
can
just
actually.
didn't sleep in the same bed with all
They
the.
just actually, I actually had a private little space for me and my bites. But it was just like I did stay for longer. My wish came true in a different way than I thought it was going to happen. But the point, what I want to say is, as I was working through the shame, is like I am the problem here. This is such a magnificent and beautiful place, and I brought the trouble because bedbugs is not fun. Like it's a thing, it's a problem, it's not easy. But it was, I really felt that evening, especially, and I know you specifically supported me on it as I called you, like our group that we have, like, oh my God, it was the out of the first moment I wanted to quit because I'm like, I can't do this. This is so hard. Why am I even doing this? Why am I even, this is hurting. Like my feet are full of blisters and I'm beaten here and this is not fun. And all the hardship really came in, the duality, right? Yes, I'm walking here along the ocean and it's incredible and the nature is beautiful and the people and the culture is incredible, but at the same time the opposite coexist at the same time. And what is more important, like, can we be with both of it at the same time? That's what I was learning also in that moment. And I was working, I was crying, and I felt like I just felt it. I was crying, all tears that were not even mine. It was this, you called it the deep, like, feminine wound.
Yeah.
In this, that's what you put the name on it.
Shame is one of those, and that's the feminine archetype suffers
Yeah.
from shame.
And it was because it truly has been, the walk has been beautiful, but it's been incredibly hard. And I created that completely to learn what I needed to learn and to heal what I needed to heal. But the most incredible moment also was eventually I got back to bed because I realized at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm here just in my panties and t-shirt because I took off my trousers and I'm like, okay, they are full of bed bugs and stuff. I'm not going into it. And I realized, well, I'm not helpful for anybody and not myself if I'm going to be here. It was quite chilly. It was up in the mountains, even though it was summer. I felt ill, like, is this going to be supportive to me and to the people who I will be sharing the spaces with, right? So I decided to go back to bed. I'm like, well, I'm already bitten, like, I can do more. Yeah, like, what's the difference, right? And in the morning, Amanda, it was the whole receiving part. It was so healing. Like the owner of this place was truly like this 8-year-old man who truly looks like Saint Nicholas, like, of Father Christmas. White hair, white beard, this old man with glasses, literally. It was like Father Christmas. So we call him like Saint Nicholas in my country. And I came there 7 o'clock in the morning, like swallowed, like I had this allergic reaction, my eyes like this from all the crying. And I felt so ashamed. And it was a moment I realized how easy would have been for me to leave and hide and not to tell anybody and not face it. And after that, I realized, man, it took courage for me to show up and be so real and vulnerable and the way I've been. And I told him, like, I think I have bed bugs. And this man, literally, he was like grandfather. He was standing in front of me looking at my face. He's like, yeah, I think you do. And I was crying because I was like completely dysregulated. Like my emotions were all over the place, nervous system all over the place. And he put his hands on my shoulders. And he looked at me, and I speak like a little bit of Spanish. He speak a little bit of English. And he said, don't worry, we will take care of you. And I was this moment like, oh my God, you will take care of me. And I'm this mess and I'm this problem. And I received so much love. And this is what I learned, Amanda, and it's in more and more awareness since then. When I am real, when I am open, when I am vulnerable, and I show up with love, but vulnerable and authentically, I receive possibility. I receive love. I receive support. There is never ever, what we fear when we are vulnerable, like rejection and judgment. I'm telling every single time when this vulnerability, authenticity, it's really coming from a place of this deep trust, surrender again, and be like, and it's clean. It's not manipulation. You know, it's not. It's I really from a clean energy, and I was just there like this little girl, and I'm like, I have this, and I feel really shitty. Excuse my language, but feel really shitty about it. But this is what it is. It's like, don't worry, we will take care of you. And they took care of me, Amanda, for the next 3 days. They helped me to clean all of the stuff so I get rid of whatever is there. He gave me clothes I can be in. They gave me antihistamine. They gave me this special place where I can be on my own so I can settle. I receive so much support and love.
That's beautiful. I hope everybody who's watching now and the ones that watch later are really absorbing your fire and passion, because you have so much of it. And I would love if you could let everybody know how they can find you, where can they find you, so that if somebody would like to contact you, and of course we will put it in the comments later too. So it'll go in the comments on this when we're done.
So yeah, thank you for that. You can find me on Facebook. My personal profile is my name, just Martina Mazdrova. And on Instagram, I am there just the Walking Life Coach. But there is my name as well, but the Walking Life Coach, and connect with me. And there is like the big vision I have, on the big dream is really, really help people, but I feel really women are drawn to me at this moment, really to walk the Camino. There is the preparation, there is setting the intention to have the journey really transformational, because we can go there for adventure, we can go there, let's see what happens, but also we can go there with a powerful intention. But most importantly, and now the branch goes 2 ways, which I know, like, this is my really superpower, like integrating the journey, but integrating any kind of journey. I call it integrating the Camino, if that's the path, but integrating the journey you're on, because I can just see between the lines and find the lessons. And the most profound, why the walking, the last thing is, because the way we walk is the way we walk through life. We are the one person everywhere, and nature and the path shows you, if you are present and connected to yourself and to the journey, and to, well, what is coming up for me? Why am I triggered? Why is this upsetting me that I don't know where to go, or whatever? It is the same conversation we have with ourselves in life, and that's why I am so freaking passionate about this, because we can go on one day walk and all of the answers we need in the moment, it's right there.
Yeah.
And then let's integrate it into our life. It's freaking powerful.
I think that sentence totally describes what it would be like to work with you as a mentor. There are a few people watching. I want to give those people a moment if you want to make a comment. And I've been keeping an eye on it. They're just watching and listening, which is perfect. But if you have anything you'd like to say or ask, now would be the time, because we're going to finish up. And Martina, I just wanted to thank you for doing this with me, for being spontaneous, for asking for it. And I wouldn't have thought to do this. This was all Martina's idea. So this has been beautiful to have this on here. So it looks like I'll give just another second or two here, just in case.
And I want to just say to the listeners, just last thing, let it integrate, like be with it. And I would be really honored to hear what has landed for you, what has clicked. If you receive this conversation with an open curiosity, like, what is here for me? It's not random, like it's not coincidence you are listening to this conversation. There is something for you profound. I believe that wholeheartedly, this is not a coincidence. You are here listening to this conversation, whether live, whether
you're not live with us and you're watching later, we still want
exactly.
to hear you. Yeah.
exactly. And I would love, if you are open to it, I would love to hear what has landed. What did you hear me say? And yeah, how
Yeah.
it can move you forward in your life. I would love to hear that. So thank you.
So
Thank you
thank you,
for
Martina. I am going to go ahead. We'll stop the recording, and there's something, there is a question on here. There's something on here. Oh,
tell me.
it's Arthur saying he truly enjoyed the ask, and says you're a brave and strong woman. And that is very true.
You. I
So
receive.
there are some, you need to go back and look at these when
I will.
somebody sent a picture of just they enjoyed it. I did too. And I just want to tell you what landed for me was the experience of seeing the sign in the moment and following that, because I'll often tell the universe, okay, if you show me something, if you show me something at least 3 times, I can believe it, that I know that that's the direction I need to go. And that just doesn't create flow. So
And
and trust. Yeah. So for me, that was my big takeaway. So thank you for that. And I'm going to stop this right now. We'll still be live in the Facebook group for a minute.